The Dolor Factor is sponsored by Ladera, a romantic paradise. Lime, value every moment. Illuminous, your transformation begins here. Inside Out, everything for your home, inside and out. And supported by the Cultural Development Foundation, Creativity, Culture, Community.
On this episode of The Dolor Factor, we'll be discussing life coaching. The only real expert on your life, of course, is you. But in today's fast-paced world, it is sometimes a little difficult to keep your life on track, and we all need a little help now and then. That is where a life coach comes in. A life coach is a professional who can help you stay on course and help you to reach your life goals. Every day we make choices to do or not to do many things. These life choices range from profound to trivial. Choices we make can lead to a life that is more fulfilling or less fulfilling, more balanced or less balanced. These choices can be in our professional life, personal life, our relationships, or even decisions regarding our health. But each and every decision we make has an impact on all areas of our lives. A life coach helps you learn how to make better choices that help you maintain an effective, balanced, and fulfilling life. Stay with us on the Dolor Factor as we discuss everyday life and how a life coach can help. Hello, I'm Delia Dolor. Welcome to the Dolor Factor. We'll be focusing our discussion today on life coaching and what that means. In an ideal world, you're the one who truly knows who you are and what you need. You are the only one who can recognize what is absolutely best for you. However, just like you might hire a personal trainer to help you meet your exercise goals, or seek advice from a nutritionist for a better diet, or consult a banker for financial advice, in today's fast-paced world, many are reaching out to a life coach. Joining us to discuss this week's topic is Cynthia Alexander. Cynthia is the founder and senior executive coach of CEA Consultancy, and she has worked with a wide range of executives and managers in the UK and the Caribbean on developing leadership skills and their skills in coping with the demands on both their professional and personal lives. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here, Delia.
Good. I'm really looking forward to tonight because I think a lot of people out there, they're thinking, oh, I can organize my life. I know what I need in my life, but there's just not enough time in the day, but I'll get there to it. So I'm really looking forward to you helping us to structure some of that.
Okay.
But when we asked you to be on the show, what interested you in actually coming?
Well, what interested me was that I wanted to really raise people's awareness about what life coaching can do for them, because there's some misconceptions. There are some people that are a bit confused about the difference between a coach and a counsellor or a psychotherapist, and I really wanted to clarify the difference and also what life coaching can do in terms of helping them to, first of all, clarify their goals and actually pursue their dreams.
But isn't that something we do anyway with our friends? I mean, if I want to talk to someone, I can go to my mom, I can talk to my best friend.
The difference between your mother and, say, a life coach is that we're actually trained, we're qualified to actually work with your subconscious. Your mother would listen, she would advise you, but a life coach doesn't advise. What we do is we actually guide you. So we take you on a journey, and what we do is to help you to uncover what it is you really want, and then we use a framework to help you to set goals to actually achieve your goals.
I'm glad you said about the setting goals, because a lot of people can't see the difference between a life coach and a counselor, and you touched briefly, very, very briefly, on that. But this is where we are going to go into our topic, Delia Spotlight. Now, I would need your help on this, okay?
Right.
Good,
Okay.
all right. Now, this is where we discuss current events and other hot topics that are making waves on social media and creating conversation around the water cooler. We encourage you to send in ideas for topics that you would like to see us feature in this segment. Just send us an email. Be sure to include any links to the stories, photos and videos that you want us to share, and send them to us at the Dolor Factor at choice39.tv. That's the Dolor Factor at choice39.tv. If we use your suggestion, you will receive a Dolor Factor coffee mug, and they are really nice. A lot of people want to, as soon as they see them, they're like, oh, can I have one? And I have one that I carry around. So you will win one of those, okay, if you send us something that you think we should feature on our spotlight. Okay, let's see what else we have for you. Our second spotlight item is something really special. I'm hoping that we can show you this. And I want to know whether, Cynthia, you remember this. And when we get it through, you'll hear it, you'll see it, and you'll say, wow. But anyway, this I wanted to show as well. Now, if you go onto the Dolor Factor Live Facebook page, you will notice this picture. Now, of course, this was taken last week when Nursia Paul from Something Borrowed Brides was here. And of course, here is Shane helping her out. And we asked people on our Facebook page to put words into our mouths. We received so many entrants that we had to have actually picked 2 winners. So if you go into our Facebook page, you will see what the winners have said. One of them was Vern Charles. It was just amazing what she did. And the other lady, I believe, was Cipriana. She was excellent. It was just so amazing. Lots of likes there. So if you want an opportunity to win something every week on Dolor Factor, make sure you go on our Facebook page and participate in something that we ask you to do. And they also won a wonderful bag with some things inside it from Delia Resort. So make sure, if you're not with us, make sure you like us there. Now, Christmas is coming, and each week we're going to share some of our gift ideas with you. Now, you know, there's always a problem for someone who has everything, so we're going to be looking every week at something. Now, here's a special gift idea for that person who is really hard to buy for. For this season, why not give them a gift certificate for any of the services Illuminous offers, knowing this would be a sure way to get your friend, family, or even employee into the true holiday spirit and ready to start the new year with confidence. Now, you can treat them to microdermabrasions, hydrofacials, there are dermabrasions, laser hair removal treatments, chemical peels, acne treatments, medical facials, Botox, Juvederm, medical weight loss, and even more. Of course, that is the Luminous Treatment Center in Rodney Bay. Now, from next week, I'm going to show you some more of these treatments personally, and I mean personally. You're going to be amazed at some of the things I'm going to show you, especially if you want to lose weight. I'm going to show you something unbelievable. All right? So what we're going to do is we have I showed you some of these ideas. In fact, I've told you some of them, and I'm going to show you some, Cynthia.
Okay.
Would you be interested in any of those in terms of having nice, not that you don't have nice clear skin for the New Year and Christmas?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a fan of the spa, so anything like that would certainly go down very well.
Okay. All right, then let's see if we can get you a nice video that I wanted to show you earlier. And I want to know whether this would bring back any memories to you, Cynthia. And if it doesn't, then we will just, are like, no, you're really not with it if you don't know this one. Let's see. Do you recognize this person?
No.
No? Okay. And you know, I'm going to have to, don't recognize the person.
Spice Girls? Hold on. No.
I'm singing. If you're thinking you're too cool to boogie, get down, boogie, get down, boogie.
Oh yes, yes.
So you can't hear it, but they can hear it.
Okay.
Boogie, get down.
So now I can say get down.
Boogie, yeah, you remember it?
Yes.
Get down,
Boogie, boogie. Yes.
Down, boogie, boogie, down, boogie, boogie.
How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, that was in the 70s, I believe. That was, of course, that was A Taste of Honey. I know there are lots of people, especially if you lived out of St. Lucia in the 70s, you're going to remember that. Get down, that was A Taste of Honey. And I showed that because I actually met this lady, Hazel. And I met her in Las Vegas, and then I went to Marrakesh, and she was there, and oh my God, it's Hazel. And so we sat there and we were talking about that. And I just wanted to share that with everyone because I know people who lived abroad will remember that was the tune when you were
Okay, yes.
Good. But you remember that, right?
Yes.
Okay, let's move on. We have a giveaway for this week's program. Now, this week's giveaway comes from the Sunroof Chinese Restaurant. Here is the question. Where is Sunroof Chinese Restaurant located, and what is the dinner for two menu? I'll repeat. Where is the Sunroof Chinese Restaurant located, and what is the dinner for two menu? All right, to find out the details of the dinner for two menu, check the Dolor Factor Live Facebook page and send your answers to the Dolor Factor at choice39.tv, and we will announce the winners on next week's program, and you are going to get a wonderful gift, all right? Nice meal. Now, last week's takeaway was Ritual Sushi, okay? And we asked you what was the location, the first location of the Rituals Sushi. Now, can you remember it was actually the Rituals Coffee House in Rodney Bay? That is where the Rituals Sushi was located. And the most popular items mentioned were the spicy calamari rings, carne salad and banana and rum spring rolls. And appetizer and sushi roll goes to, as you saw, Yanya Winette. So she is going to be able to go there and take someone with her and have a nice appetizer and a lovely Now, actually, it's time for us to go to a break. When we return, we're going to hear some more from Cynthia. Okay, so you ready? You're ready to tell people what a life coach does, why perhaps they should be thinking about having a life coach?
Right, certainly, certainly.
You ready?
Yes.
Good. All right, so when we come back, we're going to talk about coaching. So stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the Dolor Factor on Choice TV and CareVision. We're talking about coaching. A life coach is a professional advisor that can help you stay focused on your life goals. My guest is a life coach who is passionate about helping people to define their purpose, gain focus and achieve their goals, and ultimately live a healthier, balanced and happy life. Cynthia, can you tell the viewers a little about yourself and then why you started your business?
Okay, well, I'm a qualified human resource management and development specialist, and I'm also a certified coach. My background is, well, I was born in the UK, educated in the UK and spent most of my life there. I started off working for the health centre, then went into private sector and then the public sector. And whilst I was working in the public sector, I was responsible for commissioning training. And one of the training programs I had to commission was a leadership one, and it was on that leadership program that I actually experienced coaching for myself. Now, normally people do coach generally, and I coached managers myself, but there is a difference between the general coaching we talk about and what a professional coach does. Okay, I became very intrigued because I could see the techniques that he was using. It was so powerful, and that caused me to really want to be a trained coach. When I trained as a coach, I then decided I had this passion in me to go out and do something different, because I had been in working for the government for 19 years. Yes, and normally one would think, well, you need to stay there to get your pension. But I have to say that partly my husband encouraged me as well to do something different, and it was the coaching really that helped me to start gaining clarity and releasing those self-limiting beliefs. And once I did that, I said, this is it. I need to be a professional coach. When I was there, I started developing my exit strategy. I did what I closed everything up there, and then I started developing my business. And my dream was to be able to work in the UK and also the Caribbean. So I can say I'm actually living my dream through coaching, and that's what I want to help people to do. I do a lot of training. I'm very passionate about my training, but I'm even more passionate about the coaching because it actually helps you to see results so much quicker. So you may have a situation where people have said that they want to do something for years, but they've never done it. Now, a coach will actually help you to do that. So I coach people from all walks of life. Most of my coaching has been with professional people, and I coach on family relationship issues, professional career issues, and finances. In fact, coaching is a holistic process, so you can't touch one without the other. And as a coach, what we do, the difference between a coach and, say, a counsellor is a counsellor will deal with unresolved issues. They go back and they try to help you to heal. A coach is somebody that is forward-looking. We are there to help you to clarify your goals and to identify any self-limiting beliefs you have. And we work on the subconscious. Most people know we have a conscious and a subconscious mind, but what they probably are not aware of is that your conscious mind is only 3 to 5% of your brain operating power. The other 95% is your subconscious.
No, you see, I have to stop here. People, do you realize now why I say this lady is passionate? Because she's already gone into life coaching. What did I ask her? I asked her, tell us about yourself and how did you start your business? But she wants to tell us how passionate she is about her work and whatever. That means that if you are stuck in a rut, then you, Cynthia, are the person that will help people to get out of the rut. But from England to St. Lucia, how did that happen and when did that happen?
That happened about 5 years ago, and there was, it was a big thing because people were saying, are you mad? You're leaving your big job and you're going to St. Lucia? What are you going to find there? But the thing is, I am passionate about it, but you also have this instinct. It was like it was right for me. And I had a plan. That's the main thing. And that's the thing about coaching. You actually do have to plan, and you start, you have your little goals and you can tick them off and you can see the progress and you actually gain momentum from that. So
I put my hand up because I want to ask something. You said that and I'm listening to you, but I'm also thinking a lot of people, they think they can't do something because they don't have the money or there's no money in it.
Right.
And I know because you've left England to come to St. Lucia, that it definitely couldn't be just about the passion for you, and it couldn't be about the money, because I had that same experience in terms of leaving England, coming here. I took a 70% pay cut, 70, and I'm sure you did too.
Yes,
it could even be higher or slightly lower, but most people, they do that. And why do you do that? Because you're passionate about what you want to do, and you decide something happens in your life where you say to yourself, I can't do this anymore. I'm not happy. I have to do something that will make me happy.
Right. I have to say, my husband was instrumental because I actually was very ill. I became very ill. And I believe that part of it could have been because of the stress. It was a highly stressed job. But at the time, I wanted to do something different. I realized I had to change. Otherwise, I was going to, I needed to create some work-life balance. And it was the vision. I just had this vision that it was going to be great. And this is why it's so important for people to actually visualize, because our subconscious mind works on images. And this is why you hear all these famous people saying, you need to have a vision board. It's because when you have that vision, it manifests in you. And so for me, I had the vision and I had the momentum. The plan was in place. and I was ready to go.
And you had a good man behind you.
I certainly did.
And that's another thing that helps. If you have a good person behind you, yes, if you have a partner, that's great. But if you have someone else, whoever that is, who supports you or who can help you,
Yes.
that's helpful too. But if you don't have that, I would say there are other things, organizations and so on, that will help people who feel that, oh, I'm on my own, I can't do this on my own.
I think the other thing that's really important is that you need to have a good close knit of friends or family as another support. Okay, people that you can confide in confidentially.
Well, you know that's a big issue in St. Lucia.
Right.
That is a big age, and that's why a lot of people don't go to counsellors here because they don't even trust the counsellors.
Right.
And they should, because that is a very serious thing for a counsellor to betray their patient's trust. Oh
Right.
no, but people in St. Lucia don't understand that. Would you have those issues as a coach?
As a coach, I don't have those issues because we actually work with, a code of ethics, and I believe there is nobody here that could say that they've come to me and have been at risk of hearing anything out there. That's what we take that very, very highly. And yes, you're absolutely right. I have been in my classes and we've talked about depression and, some of the suicides that are happening, and they're saying to me, but Mrs. Alexander, people won't go to a counsellor, or I say sometimes you just need to reach out to a friend.
Okay.
And they say we have issues about confidentiality.
We'll talk more about that when we come back from the break.
Okay.
Welcome back. We're talking about today's stressful, fast-paced world and how many people are turning to a life coach to help them reach their personal and professional lives. Now, Cynthia, we were talking about confidentiality. We touched on it a little, and I want to talk about it a little bit more because I think that this is part of the reasons why people will either accept or reject the idea of a life coach. They feel that it's not going to remain confidential, or that you in terms of the life coach may laugh or say it's silly. What have you so far been in St. Lucia? Have you had any of those issues in terms of confidentiality and people accepting or rejecting that perhaps they do need a life coach in their life?
Well, I personally haven't experienced any issues, and in terms of confidentiality, I actually get people to sign an agreement so they know that whatever they say in a session, it could be a case where I'm employed corporately. I actually tell the executives there that I cannot divulge anything about those conversations, so people know that it is extremely confidential. And that is one of the things that you can guarantee with a professional life coach.
Okay, so why is it that people don't seem to want to accept a life coach as something that they should seriously consider to help them to manage their lives?
Well, I think that most people feel that they can actually get along and manage effectively, and they probably think, why do I need a life coach? But the thing is, I would say that you need a life coach in situations where you feel you need direction and clarity. In situations where you have promised yourself that you want to do something, you have this thing in mind, but you never do it. Or when you find yourself doing the same things and getting the same results. So a typical example would be New Year's. Everybody's out there doing their New Year's resolutions, but it only lasts for so long. What a life coach will do, as I said, we're not advisors. We are people that are trained to listen. We have tools and techniques to actually observe what's going on, the sort of your thinking patterns that you may not know. So it's those patterns that probably get you or keep you stuck. And what we can do through the journey of coaching is we can uncover that and unlock it. So if you do have any self-limiting beliefs, we can actually help to turn that around. The other thing is, in terms of life coaching, there's a lot of stress going on right now, relationship issues, work-life balance. And what I'm finding is that we have, in St. Lucia, very highly qualified people, and they're in their jobs, but I don't think, my experience is not, or I should say, a lot of them are not feeling fulfilled or happy. So for me, it's about, well, okay, you've achieved academically, but then it may very well be that you need to go on a course to actually focus on you, to actually develop your vision, to establish what you want to be doing. Because, I mean, an example is, in St. Lucia, I recognise that people retire quite early in comparison to England. So people are going in a job and they're used to that habit. A lot of people are not even happy in their jobs, but they will not take the chance. They will not start doing the work to enable them to get out of it. Or if they're unhappy, it's about changing their thinking so that at least they can be more productive at work, yes? And they can actually find activities outside of work that will help them to create some balance in their life and to gain more fulfillment.
From what you've said, I'm thinking perhaps you may say this is something for a counsellor, but maybe if someone had a life coach in their life, then perhaps their relationships would be better, because they would be able to think about something that they like doing that will take their minds off things that they don't like doing, so that when they get home to their partner, they can talk about something different other than the same work. And also it gives them something to look forward to, so that when they do, get into retirement age, or anything happens to them that forces them to leave, their 9 to 5, that they have something else that they can go into, that they enjoy doing.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And what I found, I don't know that it's just a situation with St. Lucia, but we don't plan. We don't plan. So, people are in a job and maybe they're coming up to retirement, they're not planning. You're probably in a job that you don't enjoy.
But how do you plan?
How do you plan? The first thing you need to do is to find out what you really want.
So you actually have to sit down, make some time.
Yes, you do have to do some self-reflection. It's absolutely necessary. And it's important that you raise your self-awareness and be honest with yourself. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where we're extremely unhappy. And we stay there for a long time. And then a day comes. The time we change is when we get up and we say, I've had enough of this.
Either that or they leave first.
Well,
sorry. Or then you get sacked. But it's true.
Yes.
You sit there, I'm unhappy.
Yes.
I'm unhappy.
I don't like this job.
I don't know ever.
I don't like, and the thing is, in coaching, there's so many things that we have to look at. Because one of the things that we have to look at is forgiveness. Yes, there are a lot of people in jobs unhappy about how they've been treated, and they go from year to year feeling resentful, angry, and that anger is actually affecting them internally.
And those around them.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do actually, through the coaching process, we find out, we uncover those things. What is keeping you stuck? Whatever situation you find yourself in, you have to recognize you are actually getting something out of it, even though you may be complaining about it. And that's the sorts of things we work on in coaching, finding out, well, okay, if you're not happy, what are you getting out of it? The other thing we work on is, are you driving your life or are you being driven?
Again, it's about are you a follower or a leader?
Absolutely. And this is where the honesty, because if you're always tensed and stressed, there is something that has to tell you that you're not actually enjoying life, and you've got to try and uncover that and find out what it is you need to do. Now, not everybody can afford to leave the job that they don't like, but what they can do is start looking at that job in a different way.
You know, I always say when someone answers a question with the words, I don't know, they do know.
Of course they
do. They do know. They're just afraid to address it.
Right. And when you are dealing with a professional coach, we are trained to help you to uncover that, yes, and to get over your fear. That's what we do. We help you to set your goals, but we also help you to unlock those fears. We have various techniques that we use, and that's the big difference between a qualified coach and somebody that just says they're coaching.
Thank you, Cynthia. I've learned a lot in this segment. I hope that you have too. So make sure you stay with us on Choice TV. We're going to be talking a little bit more and invite you to call in. So we'll be back soon. Welcome back. We're discussing life and how sometimes we all need a little help staying on course to achieve our personal goals and where we can go to find help. Now, we don't always have to consider just personal goals. As you said earlier, that there are career goals, and you said that you did some corporate training as well. What does that involve?
Okay, well, the corporate coaching involves, well, the organisation would need to call me in. And what generally tends to happen is that we start that process off by finding out what the organisation is hoping to achieve from that particular coaching programme. Once we're clear about that, we start off by carrying out a 360-degree appraisal with participants. And what that does is that it actually gives us information about their strengths and their limitations, and that's in relation to the organisation's objectives.
I like that word, limitations, as opposed to weaknesses.
Absolutely.
That's a lovely word. Okay.
Yes. So once we found that out, I meet with the individuals individually, and then we talk about their strengths and the limitations that have been identified, and we actually go through a process where we start setting goals. Now, as a coach, I am your accountability partner, and that's the other thing about coaching. And so people are more inclined to actually deliver on their goals.
I'll tell you, that's the way I do things.
Right.
I have to tell someone, I'm going to do this by that.
Absolutely.
And then I'm like, I'm not failing, I'm not going to fail.
Right. But we have to also appreciate that people have different levels of motivation. Yes. And as a coach, we have to be able to discern their level of motivation. So when they set these targets and goals, we are trained to listen and ask questions to actually get specific information. Now, as a coach, we're non-judgmental. We believe that people have the answers inside them. All we do is to ask questions in such a way to elicit that information.
And if the other person is doing really well, do they get gold stars?
Well, it all links into their appraisal. So the idea from a corporate perspective is that they go through, say, a 4 to 6 month period of coaching, and that's probably one coaching session every 3 weeks. But they actually have to do the work in between.
Let me just open the phone lines now. If anyone would like to call and ask Cynthia a question pertaining to life coaching, or anything that they feel that it's very difficult for them to make a start on something, this is the time to do it. If you have any questions or any statements, anything, or maybe you have experienced life coaching or counseling and you can say how you felt about receiving those. But in terms of corporate coaching, isn't there friction sometimes? Because with corporate, people are told to go, and they may have their own personal beliefs in coaching, and they think, oh, it's not for me, I'm just doing this because the company tell me that I should do that. Do you come across that or sense that at any time?
Well, actually, Delia, I've coached a number of executives, And I think in all the years that I've coached, I've only come across it on 3 occasions that, you know, I don't want to be here. Okay, so you can't legislate for everybody, and, you know, coaching isn't for everybody. We have to be clear about that. And this is why you will find that most professional coaches will give an initial consultation so that you can actually determine whether it's the thing for you or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And in doing that, would the coach say to you, well, you would need X amount of sessions? How do you do it? Is it per hour, or how does it work?
Okay, well, it generally tends to be an hour. Corporately, it tends to be an hour and a half. But it depends on, you know, your agreement with that individual. But certainly an hour. Now, the good thing about coaching is that it is a method that we actually work around people.
Okay, can I just stop you there so we can take a call? Hello, welcome to the Dolor Factor.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Interesting topic, interesting discussion. Where can one find you? That's your guest location and maybe phone number.
Okay, Cynthia would like, he'd like to find you and your phone number. Thank you very much for your call.
Okay, my telephone number is 715-2748.
Say that again.
715-2748.
And where can he find you?
Well, I'm working at the Gilbertha Centre, the Creative Centre in Rodney Bay. But certainly what I tend to do, it depends on if it's an organisation thing. I actually go to the organisation, but we can arrange to meet there.
Okay. All right. And also we'll put that information on the Dolor Factor live Facebook page if there's anyone else who would like that. Now, when it comes to life coaching, you were talking about the corporate element of things. In listening to you, would people be right to think that it's really a service that older people need?
No, I don't believe so. And I'll give you an example. My niece-in-law said that she's going to do an exam and she's a little bit nervous about going in to do it. And what I did a little coaching session with her, but I also talked about her fear, and I gave her a little exercise to dispel that fear. So it is not, I mean, you can be coached at any point. And I think people probably just leaving school, college, where they're unclear. And that's the thing about coaching. It's to help you to gain clarity and to help you to plan and plan effectively.
And I think a good thing about coaching as well is that you actually have someone that you can talk to. Because I remember there was a time in my life many years ago where I was stuck. I think I just ended a relationship, something that was on for a very long time.
Right.
And I picked up a book called by Ayan Levansant called Living in the Meantime.
Yes.
But the thing about that book was there was a workbook version, which lots of people say, oh, I never saw that, so I was very lucky.
Right.
It was like this big, but the workbook version made you write the answers in the book.
Right.
And it took me nearly 2 years to finish the book. The book was maybe about that thick, maybe about 100 pages. But the reason why, it's because it asked me little questions that I had lost myself. I couldn't even answer them, like, what makes you happy?
Right.
And then when I realized what made me happy, I was stuck because I didn't know how to make a start in making myself happy. Now, if I had a life coach, someone like me at that point in my life, I didn't think I needed a counselor because I knew what was happening to me.
Right.
I knew it was just a matter of time for me to get out of it. But if I had a life coach, then I would have been able to say, okay, then I know what makes me happy, but I'm not doing it. How can I start to? And then I would have reached that place of being where I wanted to be a lot sooner, because it wasn't just about my personal happiness, it was about my work as well. It made me realize I was in a job, I did it, but I wasn't really happy with it, that I could have changed it and so on and so forth. So would you then reinforce that it is nice to have someone other than your friend, your mom, your dad, your partner, or a book even?
Yeah.
Online courses even.
I mean, I think a lot of people are reading a lot of books and going to YouTube and watching videos, and all of that is great. but I don't think, I mean, it's the same as actually having that person that you can actually confide in. And I'll say confide in because I'm thinking of the benefits that my clients have talked about, the fact that they can use me as a sounding board, the fact that they can come in and just literally offload. And you know, I've had clients that are, you know, they're having a really busy day, and they'll say, "I'm so confused, I can't come." They
and
get
I've heard
there.
that many times. Cynthia, we have to go to a break.
Okay.
When we come back, your last opportunity to take calls, so make sure you stay with us. See you soon.
Okay.
Welcome back. As usual, you're flooding me with questions, so I'm going to read a few of them now, but don't forget the phone lines are still open, so you can call, you can still send us an email very quickly with any questions or any comments. Now, one of the questions I have here, Cynthia, is how much does it all cost?
Okay, well, the coaching, it depends on, there's different pricing structures for corporate coaching and life coaching, and it depends what package you want. And what we normally do is to give a free consultation so that we can actually establish what people's needs are, and then we actually talk about the price at that point.
Okay, now you did say you give a free consultation. What about giving one of our viewers a free actual consultations, so that you do further, so maybe, you know, an hour and a half or something, so that they can get the benefits?
That's fine.
Okay,
yes,
all right
happy
then.
to
So
do
there
that.
we go. So what we have to do now is just determine how that person will get it. What I'm going to do is say to you, you've seen the email address, the Dolor Factor at choice39.tv. Why don't you just send us an email and just say, what is your understanding about a life coach? What do you think a life coach can do for you? That's the question. What do you think a life coach can do for you? And we'll send all the responses to Cynthia, and she will choose the one that she would like to give some extra time. All right, very easy. So you say, what do you think, or how helpful do you think a life coach can do? What can they do for you? Now, saying that, I do know that you're involved in the wellness center.
Right.
Wellness club?
Yes, it's a wellness club.
Right. Tell us about that.
Okay, I'm actually working with 3 other women, one of which we're all very passionate about health and well-being. I'm working with a Dr. Gilberta.
St. Rose?
St. Rose, thank you, yes. And she deals with traditional and non-traditional medicines. I'm also working with a nurse called Regina Posner, and she specializes in dealing with people that suffer with dementia and Alzheimer's, and she also does bioscans, which actually help you to detect your illnesses at a very early stage. And then we have Brenda, who is really our coordinator, and what we are trying to do really is to bring together services that people can access to actually help them to improve their health and well-being. And we're intending to have an open day in January where people can come along, have their blood pressure checked, actually get more information on what it is we offer. And we will also be organizing things like outings for people that are at home on their own, and because we're very much aware that people are or do get depressed when they're at home
this depression
alone.
thing that's happening, you know, worldwide, even in St. Lucia, it's just, you know, it's something that we have to address.
We do have to address it, and you know, one of the things that I have in my, I'm actually launching a set of master classes, and I have a psychologist working with me, and her name is Virginia Joseph, and she is actually going to be doing one of those classes on depression, looking at trauma, because we must not be confused. There are some people that are actually really very depressed, and we keep wondering, why can't they shake out of it?
Yes, yes.
And for those people, they've probably gone through a traumatic situation, and so it's not as easy to shake yourself out of it. And you know, one of the politicians was saying the other day, I heard her say we need to destigmatize things like counseling and therapy, and I would certainly agree. But the other thing is, we do need to start looking at our values. We need to be able to listen to people without gossiping, because people, you know, things like depression, they don't discriminate on class, age, culture, sexuality. They don't. So it could happen to any one of us. You know, I see people out there and people say, ha ha ha, you know, they've gone off.
Yeah.
You know, and these are the types of things that it's time to stop laughing about these things.
And the thing is, depression sometimes has a smile on your face because you show people one thing, but inside it's something completely else.
We cannot.
And you're not crazy. You're not mentally unwell.
No.
You're just something traumatic has happened, whether it's in your past or even being afraid of the future.
Or getting a shock. It could be a relationship shock that, you know, has traumatized you and you cannot get out of it. You know, and I think it's so important. When we talk about be your brother's keeper, in the workplace, we need to look at, you know, look out for our people to check if, you know, they're acting differently.
So where can people get information about the launch of the club?
Okay, well, again, they can actually, I think on your website, we can actually put that on. But yes, we look forward to seeing people. There's a lot of information. We'll be taking things like blood pressure and really giving a lot of information out, because the aim is to get people to start looking after themselves. I mean, I've noticed in St. Lucia, healthcare is expensive. It's not like England. So we
won't go there. That's another show in itself. Cynthia, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's time for us to go, but let me just remind, so thank you.
Thank you.
Let me just remind you, if you would like to visit Aunt Cynthia for free, just send us an email, the Dolor Factor at choice39.tv, and say why you think you would like to have her services. So, thank you again, Cynthia, for joining us. Now, we all need someone to help us, but it starts with ourselves. It starts with us. I'm pausing because I want you to realize it starts with you. You need to have your own life coach if you feel that you're stuck in a rut. It starts with you. So until next week, I'd like to say thank you so much for joining us, for being with us. And also I want you to maintain your balance, all right? Try and maintain your balance. So many times we don't have to put a title to it, you know? We just don't have to put a title to it. Just try and maintain your balance. Why? Maybe because the thought of seeking help is something we think of as admitting failure. But having the strength to recognize that you need a little help is actually the first step to feeling better. There's an unimaginable relief when things are organized. And in a strange way, I even dare to compare it with when someone is cheating in a relationship. They know that they're wrong. You know that feeling when someone is cheating in a relationship. They know that they're wrong, but they're actually relieved when their infidelity is revealed. Sorry. All right? So when they're, you know what I'm saying, okay? Because that's how we feel sometimes. We are just waiting for someone to say to us, or someone to discover that we're doing something wrong. Because when they discover that, then we are actually forced to do something about it. Now, if you're organized, it means that you're going to enjoy your life a little bit more. You may even stop gaining weight, because we do that. When we are not organized, when we are frustrated, when we are stressed, we start eating, don't we, for comfort food and so on. And even your hair may grow. That's another thing. It's not an illness. Sometimes you're just so stressed because we are not organizing our lives. So please think about, if you're having those kind of symptoms, think about it and do something about it, all right? So, again, thank you so much to my guest, Cynthia Alexander, for being here. I also want to thank the Dolor Factor team, Choice TV and Care Vision. So until next time, goodbye and God bless.